10 years as an undercover op,
The majority of my career was spent in the Middle East region.
working to take down terrorists.
I was a complete anomaly to these guys.
One former CIA agent shares her story. Plus, a young drug dealer with no way out.
So my plan was to try to find a gun, to shoot back at these guys that are trying to get me. But then when I saw it was the police coming in, I didn't know what to do.
See how his arrest brought him freedom. All on today's 700 Club Interactive. Well, welcome to the show. Here's Ephraim Graham with this week's top 5 stories from Studio 5.
At number 5.
Make room for Make Room.
Jonathan McReynolds' Make Room project is available now.
No, they come from the Father's heart, not the sky, not chance, but truth is, I'm not lucky, I'm loved.
And with that new music, McReynolds opens up about struggles with loneliness and overcoming them.
I think if you listen to my music, it's always a snapshot of where I am in life. It's always, I'm writing the songs. This is like a diary almost, a journal. And so, this particular stage of my life, while career and people, relationships take so much space, is definitely an objective of mine in this season to be making room for God.
At number 4.
More than 10 million people tuned in for the singing, good and bad. American Idol's return drew 10.3 million total viewers on ABC, down about 700,000 viewers from the last season premiere on Fox in 2016.
I moved to Nashville to do music in 2016, and then I actually got hit by a car and paralyzed from the waist down.
The return of the series also marks the return of emotional contestant journeys, like this once paralyzed singer.
I look down and sure enough, there's my legs on the bed, but I can't feel them. And then I'm in bed one night and I see my foot move just a little.
When I heard about what happened to David, I was devastated, and I wrote him, hopefully encouraging him to not give up at all.
Isn't she pretty? Truly the angel's best. Boy, I'm so happy, 'cause we have been heaven blessed.
Did we say you're going to Hollywood?
You didn't.
You're going to Hollywood.
At number 3.
Adam, you have news on Kirk Cousins. What is it?
Lisa, the latest is that he is likely to sign with the Minnesota Vikings.
The word on the street is Kirk Cousins is inking a 3-year, $84 million deal with the Minnesota Vikings. It's another big step for this preacher's kid and vocal man of faith.
While I accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior at the age of 7 or 8 years old, I think when it really took root in me and I really took ownership of my faith was when I moved into high school and really started to learn what it meant to not just be calling myself a Christian, but to actually be a follower of Jesus Christ.
At number 2.
When you're weary and feeling small,
R&B's John Legend graces the cover of the latest issue of Relevant magazine, opening up about playing the role of Jesus in a live concert on Easter Sunday on NBC.
I grew up singing and playing gospel music, led a bunch of choirs as a kid, even up through going to college and everything. I helped pay my way through school by being the director of music at a church.
And he's pulling from the faith pages of his own life for this performance.
So how I got over, how I got over. My soul look back and wonder how I got over. Come on.
At number 1.
Listen, y'all, we are not fighting for victory. We are fighting from victory.
Bible teacher Priscilla Shirer returns to the big screen this week in I Can Only Imagine.
Look, I am a Millard. Okay, you don't understand. Millards play football. Millards do not sing.
You have a gift, Bart. And in my class, you will be required to use it.
Shirer plays Mrs. Fincher, the teacher who discovered Mercy Me's Bart Millard had a voice and demanded he use it.
Was there a Mrs. Fincher in your life?
Oh, yes. I can name several, actually, people that saw things in me that I didn't see in myself.
and just sort of thrust me out there and said, you're going to do it whether you like it or not.
Look, Miss Fincher, I like you, okay? You seem like a real good person. I respect you. But there is no way, ever, at all, ever, that you are gonna get me on that stage.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow.
Friends here, and that's the scene you gotta follow up with. Okay, I can only imagine. You've seen the film.
I've seen the film.
You love the film.
I love the film. I tell you, we all know the song, obviously. It is the most popular Christian song ever recorded. More than 2 million downloads, double platinum. So we know the song. When I first heard the song, I just assumed it was a song about going to heaven and seeing Jesus for the first time. But it was really about a song about how Bart Millard watched a transformation in his dad. His dad literally was the person he most loathed, and in the end became the person he most wanted to be like. He was abusive to his mom, abusive to him. His mom ended up leaving because she couldn't take the abuse, and Bart was left there alone with his dad, who was not supportive. And Dennis Quaid does an amazing performance and a believable transformation, so much so that Dennis Quaid says to the Erwin brothers, is this type of transformation really possible? Can someone actually go from being this evil, angry man to being so supportive and loving and actually seeking out his son now, trying to get forgiveness? And the story behind it's beautifully told. My 10-year-old daughter was with me when I seen it. For her to be moved to tears and me to be moved to tears, I think people will really enjoy this film. Even the Erwins say they think this may be the best film they've done to date. It'll be out Friday in theaters. It's worth seeing. It's worth seeing.
And it seems like there are a couple of stories in it. It's not just the story of the transformation of the father. It's also the story of the son who's abused, and then the people that come alongside him to say, no, you've got a future.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a hope for you. You can do this. You can actually get on stage.
That includes his wife, who he met at a Christian camp as a kid. And she has some come to Jesus moments with him saying, look, either you're going to get serious or I'm out. And we see that play out. We also see Priscilla Shirer play Mrs. Fincher. I think my prayer has been for my children to have teachers like this. I've had teachers like that in my life.
Who was your Mrs.
Mine
Fincher?
was Willie Faye Harvey was her name, in 7th grade. I remember in the middle of a class, I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing. And across the room, she called me out, stopped me in my tracks and says, you're better than that. I know you're better than that. And to this day, I never, ever forgot that speech. And that moment, I went from being a student who goofed off to, I don't want to let Miss Harvey down. She says that I'm better than this. I'm better than what I was doing. And I'll never forget her from now until, and that was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Yes. That was my Mrs. Fincher.
John Legend, who knew? Who knew he was a music director? Who knew he grew up in church?
Yes. He's got rich Christian history. Yes.
This has sort of been hidden.
A very rich Christian history the more I read about him. His grandfather was actually his pastor growing up.
Wow.
His grandmother was the organist. And he, was a choir director. It helped put him through college. He's going to play the role of Christ in the concert on NBC on Easter Sunday, Jesus Christ Superstar. And he admits that he is not as much in church the way he was as a kid, but encourages people and wants them to know, if you listen to the lyrics of my music, that depth comes from my growing up having a relationship with Christ. That's why I write songs about taking care of the poor. That's why I write songs about pure love. That's why, that's where that all comes from.
Let's hope he gets back into fellowship.
That's my prayer. That's my prayer.
Jesus Christ Superstar, I was alive when it came out. And at the time, it was very controversial.
It was indeed.
Is it still?
Some say it is. I'm not sure what the reception will be this time around, but reading the headlines, even for promoting the live broadcast, some have said, Jesus Christ Superstar still controversial. I'm not sure what people will feel. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be watching it. I'm a big fan of John Legend's voice, and I want to see it play out.
All right, speaking of voice, American Idol, back.
It's back. It's back.
What can we expect this season?
I think we're going to see, from what I watched with my children these last couple of nights. They are not as enthralled as they used to be. So if my kids are any indication, they're not happy.
Dad, it's old school, which makes me feel ancient because I still remember it was kind of new.
Me too. Me too. I think we'll see a lot more of the emotion that we saw play out with Katy Perry after hearing the story of the gentleman who was paralyzed. We're getting a lot more behind the scenes. And I will say this, that in the old days of watching American Idol, that was often my favorite part, learning the backstory of the artists and their struggles and how they actually came to, because we can all relate to, you know, reaching that moment and the struggles that it takes to reach something that you've really, really dreamed of. I mean, that gentleman literally paralyzed and sitting on the bed thinking it's all over, and begin to see, wait a minute, my toe's moving. And he says since that day, he's progressively been getting better. He's engaged to that young woman who was a friend who she was just reaching out to say, you know, hang in there, it's gonna be okay. And that begins a relationship, and they're preparing to get married. He literally thought, my life was over. I just moved to Nashville to do music, can't do music anymore. I'm probably never gonna get involved in a relationship. You know, who wants to be strapped to someone who's bedridden? And his life unfolds before his eyes, greater than he could have even imagined. Literally, that happened, unfortunately, just a couple of days after he moved to Nashville to pursue a music career.
Yeah. But that story, if that's the storyline, then I think that's riveting television.
Yes, and I think there are countless stories like that from many of those contestants.
Yeah, let's overcome all odds and see what we can do.
Absolutely.
And see what we can do with God.
You got it.
All right. Well, for all the latest in entertainment news, check out Ephraim's weekly show. It's called Studio 5, and you can watch it online at cbn.com/Studio 5. And Ephraim, we'll see you again next week.
See you next week.
Well, coming up, a Southern belle who became a CIA agent. The former spy reveals how she saved lives while cracking the terrorist network.
The best schooling in terrorism a person can get is being in front of those guys like that, which is fascinating because if they'd met you on the street, they'd prefer to cut your head off.
She tells us what's truly worth fighting for right after this. Michelle Rigby Assad is a former CIA officer who infiltrated ISIS and then later led an escape mission out of Iraq. Now the story of her covert life has been revealed in her new book, Breaking Cover. CBN's national security correspondent Eric Rosales talked with Michelle about how her faith led her to become a highly skilled operative.
How do you stop terrorist organizations like ISIS from committing violent attacks in cities like New York City, Times Square? You have to go undercover, infiltrate them, learn how they think and act. And that's what Michelle Rigby Assad did for the CIA.
I spent 10 years as an undercover counterterrorism officer in the CIA. And because my expertise is in the Arab world, the majority of my career was spent in the Middle East region.
That meant Assad and her team, often including her husband, a fellow agent named Joseph, worked against the likes of Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
What's it like to work with these guys side by side? I mean... Well,
it is fascinating. The best schooling in terrorism a person can get is being in front of those guys like that, which going to Iraq for our tour, we're allowed to say that that I and my husband served in Baghdad for a year. We got to interact with those sources and really get to know what they were thinking and where they're coming from. And
what made them tick?
What made them tick? Right, exactly. And which is fascinating because if they'd met you on the street, they'd prefer to cut your head off instead of actually deal with you. But for whatever reason, they've decided, I'm going to work with the CIA to take out other members of my group.
That's all Assad says she can say, but she does add a major hurdle she had to overcome, interrogating these terrorists and being a woman.
For them, I was the opposite of what they were expecting to meet with. And I had to really work at establishing a relationship with them where they would see me as intelligent and knowledgeable of the Arab world. You know, because in their minds, I should be at home managing the family, and I can't even leave the home without a male minder or without being completely covered in black. So I was a complete anomaly to these guys.
Assad's book, Breaking Cover, My Secret Life in the CIA and What It Taught Me About What's Worth Fighting For, covers how becoming a CIA agent was the last thing on her mind. She didn't even know her eventual role even existed. Then when 9/11 happened, she and her husband knew God had them on the right path.
Here were two committed Christians who were Arabists, pre-positioned to enter the war on terror from the very beginning. Who knew but God?
In her book, Assad wanted to give a realistic view of a CIA undercover counterterrorism officer. She not only describes analyzing sources who were driven by radical, hateful ideology, but also how she surrendered her life to God.
Ordinary people can do extraordinary things when their faith is greater than their fear and intimidation. And it's really to give people the encouragement to do the hard things in life.
The book's final chapters describes life after the CIA, specifically a rescue mission leading a group of persecuted Christians out of Iraq before ISIS terrorists moved into their village.
Miraculously, even though the evacuation almost fell apart on numerous occasions, on December 10th, 2015, we successfully airlifted 149 Iraqi Christians out of northern Iraq to their new homes in Slovakia.
What does Assad hope people take away from her book? A greater understanding of her belief and faith in Jesus Christ, but also how people should never give up reaching for their goals. Eric Rosales, CBN News, New York City.
Well, the name of the book is Breaking Cover, and you can find it wherever books are sold. Well, still to come, a young drug dealer gets busted.
I'm only 19. You know, is this the end so early? I was in a cold cell, pulled up in a fetal position.
See how prison sets him free when we come back. 19-year-old Sean Harris was a major drug dealer who possessed illegal firearms and gave no thought for the law. However, after a police bust, he cried out to God and asked for a second chance. And he found that chance in prison.
There were drug dealers in my neighborhood. This guy may have sold weed, you know, this guy may have sold crack. Well, that's just Little Willie. Well, that's just Petey. And you know, he has a nice crossover on the basketball court. Wasn't a bad guy. I was probably about 15 or 16. I had a cousin that was going to Old Dominion University, and so most of the time I can stay the night over his place. And most of the kids are from different areas, and I was local. So if they wanted to smoke weed, I knew where to get the weed from, who was selling it, and I can put them in contact with who they need to be in contact with. It felt good to be accepted.
After graduating high school, Sean Harris became a full-time college student and a full-time dealer.
I didn't think I was a bad guy. I felt like I had it under control.
During his junior year, the police raided Sean's apartment.
I actually thought somebody was coming to try to rob me. So my plan was to try to find a gun, you know, to shoot back at these guys that are trying to get me, you know. But then when I saw it was the police coming in, I didn't know what to do. I was confused. Then it registered, everything in your house is illegal. What are you doing? You know, these are the police.
Sean was arrested for both drug and weapons possession.
I'm only 19. You know, is this the end so early? I was in a cold cell, pulled up in a fetal position, prayed that, you know, if God was real, that he would deliver me from this and that he would show me, you know, the right way to go. When I came out on bond, I could have jumped back into the game deeper. You know, people would still call me to see if I could get stuff for them.
An associate suggested that getting rid of the police informant could make Sean's charges go away.
I just remember visualizing myself in front of the judge. I wasn't on trial for what I had got in trouble for. I was on trial for murder, and I was terrified. And that's when I ran out the house and, you know, walked around. I went back to my home church, and I saw the pastor's car. He was still there. So we sat down and we talked. We prayed the prayer of salvation again. I think I started out this arrogant, prideful individual. I was transformed into a very meek, lowly, and humble individual almost instantly.
While out on bond, Sean committed himself to his faith and his studies.
I finished a 4-year degree in 3 years and completed all the requirements in December of 2004. When I graduated, that I knew it was nothing but God.
But he still had to face his charges.
I went to trial on January 10th, 2005. When the judge, banged the gavel and said, hey, we're sending you away for 5 years. A part of me felt betrayed by God. I really felt like, I was doing the right thing and I've been serving you, I'm teaching Bible studies. However, I'm still getting 5 years. And just that thought alone convicted me. Well, that means I was serving God conditionally. That's not true love. I can't say that I truly love God if I'm only serving you so I can get something out of it. I pray that I would get everything that he wanted me to see and that he would protect my family.
In prison, Sean turned to his faith for guidance and protection.
I tried to acknowledge God in everything that I did, and I left it in God's hands. Things went along a lot easier. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not to thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him and he will direct your paths. It seemed like every time I turned around, God was putting somebody else in my path to witness to. When I got transferred, I didn't know what type of site or facility I was going to be at, whether it was going to be rough. He protected me through it all.
Sean served out his sentence, but he struggled to find direction for his life.
Of course, I finished school, but I didn't have any work experience. I had a felony on my record. Nobody would hire me. One of the guys used to volunteer at the prison. He was going through a PhD program at Regent, and he was telling me about the School of Organizational Leadership. And I was like, yo, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to start my own business. So I wrote a nice, long, compassionate letter to gain admittance into the university, and I was gained admittance into the university. I graduated Regent in 2012 with a 3.8 GPA from the School of Organizational Leadership.
Sean now runs his own business. He uses his company to help others and is always ready to share his testimony.
I really want people to know that anybody can change, regardless of how far you fall, regardless of how bad the situation looks. Sometimes you just gotta reach out and step out on faith and just try, and God will accept you and he'll restore the years and he'll turn back all that wrong that you did and make it right.
And he'll do that for you. Here's the verse from Proverbs 3 that Sean said, this is the thing that guided me through prison. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Now, how hard is it to do that? It's very hard when you're in prison. Now, here's Sean. He got arrested. After the arrest, he said, I need to get my life right. And he starts doing the right thing, and he goes to school. He finishes his degree, a 4-year program in just 3 years. He's obviously very smart. He just made some really bad decisions. And then, to his amazement, he's convicted. And he's convicted on crimes. The police caught him with weapons he shouldn't have had, caught him in a criminal enterprise. And so the judge gives him 5 years. Now, what would you do in that situation? How would you respond? What would you say to God in that moment? Well, that's what it means with trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Even when things look bad and it's not going your way, and you're going, God, what are you going to do here? Why are you putting me in jail? Not realizing it's our fault. It's the choices that we made. And not realizing there's another verse in the Bible, God is not mocked. Whatever you sow, that you will also reap. So here's Sean, and he's in jail, and he says, well, I'll try this. I'll trust in the Lord with all my heart. I won't look at the circumstances. I'll just trust him. And I'll try this. I'm not going to lean on my thoughts here. God's got something in mind. It's bigger than my thought. It's bigger than me. And I'm just going to rely on him. And then amazing things happen. where God put people across his path, he was able to witness him. God kept him safe in very difficult circumstances. Everything was ordered. All his steps were ordered. And then after his release, to get into graduate school, to be able to have his own business. All of that can happen to you. All you have to do is do the same thing. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Here's a word for you from John. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. God bless you. We'll see you again tomorrow.